At one point or another, we've all wanted to meet a celebrity in real life, whether it's a musician, dancer, politician, or, more commonly, an actor. We're used to seeing these stars on our screens, portraying charming, heroic, or lovable characters that win our hearts. However, their off-screen personas often contrast sharply with the roles they play in films. But behind the scenes, these actors have built reputations that are very much removed from their on-screen images. We've compiled a list of actors who are reputedly very tough, demanding, or just plain nasty to work with, based on a varied mix of anecdotes, industry gossip, and personal accounts from people who've worked closely with them. Stories are from directors, fellow cast members, and crew members who had first-hand experiences with these celebrities, unmasking the troubles and frustrations endured by them. In this video, we'll examine why these stars have built these reputations and share some of the most infamous stories from film sets and industry events. From shouting matches to tantrums to violent demands to plain unprofessionalism, these stories reveal the side of Hollywood stardom that is anything but glamorous. Buckle up for some jaw-dropping surprises from your favorite stars as we count down the top 15 actors who you will hate if you ever meet them in real life. Bruce Willis. For decades, Bruce Willis has been wooing audiences with countless films that have become his signature style: Die Hard, Pulp Fiction, and The Sixth Sense. His screen persona often seemed to be that hardy, no-nonsense hero who has earned him millions of fans worldwide and numerous awards for acting excellence. Off-camera, though, a reputation clings to Willis that has not sat well with too many directors and fellow actors, conflicts and sticky behavior that have made a lasting impression. For years, stories have floated around that Willis is a nightmare on set. More accurately, he is described as an actor who can be very uncooperative and contentious. Directors who have gone through the experience of working with him usually speak of an aloof Willis, who doesn't wish to be involved in the collaborative process that is filmmaking. Kevin Smith, who worked as a director on Cop Out, famously related his experience of struggles while working with the star. Smith said it was soul-crushing. He described how Willis would sometimes not be responsive to direction and act dismissively about the project. Similarly, director Robert Rodriguez had a hard time when working on Sin City with Willis. Although Willis finally turned in a great performance, Rodriguez did allude to how difficult it was to handle star behavior during the production, even if only to propose that getting him to Falal was very challenging. These mini accounts feed into a bigger narrative inside the industry. Willis is someone who can at times be averse to the kind of teamwork and flexibility filmmaking requires. The actor's conflicts aren't limited to directors. Co-stars too have spoken about the difficulties of working with Willis. There are reports that his behavior makes for an atmosphere of tension on the set, not amicable for anyone else to perform in. This reputation for being difficult and demanding has at times overshadowed his otherwise stellar body of work. Even with these allegations against him, Willis is still one of Hollywood's bigger stars and continues to fill theater seats. The stories of his off-screen antics remind one and all that sometimes even the biggest stars have baggage that can make business dealings with them difficult. Time will tell if these stories hurt his legacy, but they unquestionably make things a little more interesting where the public perception of Bruce Willis is concerned. Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe is a very renowned and successful actor who has played in numerous films, many of them award-winning ones like Gladiator, A Beautiful Mind, and The Infiltrator. He appears to have carved out a personality for himself as hot-headed and very confrontational both on and off-screen. This aggressive personality, which sometimes borders on commitment, usually landed him in troublesome relationships with fellow co-actors, directors, or any other influential person involved in filmmaking. One of the most notorious Crowe incidents was in 2005 when police in New York arrested him for throwing a phone at a concierge from his hotel in Soho. Feeling frustrated because he was unable to connect the call back to his wife in Australia, Crowe ended up with assault charges and a lawsuit court dangling over his head, which he would settle out of court. This hugely hurt his public image, showing his explosive nature. This kind of confrontational nature has spilled onto film sets as well. Accounts from the set of Gladiator described how he locked horns with director Ridley Scott over some creative differences. It was out of that tension that Crowe's performance in that film won him the Academy Award for Best Actor, a fine example of just how complex the interplay might get between his challenging demeanor and undeniable talent. Another example was on the set of Gladiator, where he had a bit of an altercation with producer Branko Lustig. Supposedly, Crowe threatened Lustig, stating that he could make him disappear out of Hollywood. Though such comments were quite probably said in the heat of anger, they did little to quell his reputation for being difficult to work with. Edward Norton. Edward Norton is a very good actor, varied and talented, but his character has perhaps gotten a harsher telling than his talent deserved. For example, he is referred to as having almost total control over proceedings, even at the risk of abrasiveness. Some of the working professionals have gone to the extent of calling him hyper-controlled in his adherence to the words and through their influence on even the process of capturing the movie. This type of conduct, while it can stem from a genuinely honest desire to enhance the quality of the projects one is involved in, creates friction with any director, producer, or producer, or fellow actor. One of the most famous incidents that his control freak attitude caused trouble for him was in 1998. During the shooting of American History X. It is rumored that the star of the film, Norton himself, took over the editing from Tony Kaye, the film's director. It is said that following the viewing of the first cut of the movie by Kaye, Norton himself re-edited it, overextending it by a good 20 minutes in length. The latter was well received and Norton was nominated for an Academy Award. How did Kaye respond? He threw a fit publicly disavowing the film and then even trying to have his name removed from the credits. Norton was also part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and did so in a way that was typically representative of his controversial reputation, but it was rumored that Norton had a big hand in rewriting the script, to the extent that creative differences were cited by the studio when they wanted to go in another way with the film, which indeed did middling business. But Marvel decided not to bring Norton back for the Avengers and of course its subsequent installments, stating that, "We have decided to not bring Ed Norton back to portray the title role of Bruce Banner in the Pax." Norton's brand of wanting creative control can look like an irony. At other times, though, his dedication will help the project and bring out more and more depth and nuance in his performances. In yet another case, though, his insistence on having a major say in the creative process could irk on sets, thereby creating a whole load of tension. The complexity of his nature makes Norton a highly interesting figure in Hollywood, as one who is admired for his talent but often looked at with tinges of caution because of his reputedly difficult nature. Lindsay Lohan. From child star to life being a chaotic mess, Lindsay Lohan has traveled a road of controversy mixed with public criticism and professional success. Known most for her chaotic love life and professionalism in her field, Lindsay Lohan's career trajectory has been as dramatic as some of her on-screen roles. One of Lohan's earliest breakout roles was playing the twin sisters in Disney's 1998 remake of The Parent Trap. Following that was a string of successes with Freaky Friday in 2003, Mean Girls in 2004, and Herbie Fully Loaded in 2005. With these projects, her talent and charm made her a household name and recognized her as a very promising young star in Hollywood. However, Lohan's transition into adulthood found the actress in a spiral of personally induced scandals and controversies outweighing her professional success. By the mid-2000s, it was Lohan's off-screen antics that began making headlines. Tabloids featured the actress, showing the stories of her partying, erratic behavior, and legal issues. Her substance abuse got so serious that she had to get in and out of rehabilitation centers several times, which hindered her full commitment to her professional responsibilities. For example, the 2007 film Georgia Rule was hounded by delaying and on-set problems, culminating in a very public dressing down from producing Sigmund C. Robinson. This was further compounded by legal trouble to make Lohan unprofessionally unreliable. The many charges against her, inclusive of DUIs and probation violations, amounted to multiples in arrest and jail time. These cases caused her to lose work and made her reputation in the industry bad. Casting her became a no-go for most directors and producers due to her erratic behavior and possible disruptions on set caused by her issues. Despite the odds, Lohan has moved on to make several attempts at comebacks. In 2012, Lohan played Taylor in the TV movie Liz Dick, which was quite a mixed bag of a venture. Recently, however, it seems that Lohan has been working on rebuilding her career and life by moving to Europe and engaging in business opportunities off the acting circuit by opening a nightclub in Greece and appearing in the reality TV series Lindsay Lohan's Beach Club. The case of Lohan is the best example of how personal troubles can influence professional success. Talent is undeniable in her case, but the subliminal inference that comes out of her journey is that stability and dependability are very important for a sustained career in the entertainment business. Terry Hatcher. Terry Hatcher earned the reputation for being a diva on the set of Desperate Housewives, resulting from several reports of disputes with co-stars and crew. During that time, friction between Hatcher and her fellow leading ladies was high, with an extremely publicized fight between her and co-star Nicolette Sheridan. The conflict between Hatcher and Sheridan became a media sensationalism of sorts. Supposedly, Sheridan was fired from the show due to this ongoing tension. Several reports have cited Hatcher as being very difficult on set. Colleagues and crew alike have quoted her as being very demanding and hard to work with. This was further fueled by rumors and behind-the-scenes anecdotes that said she could be quite confrontational, even less collaborative compared to other stars of her show. The image of Hatcher as a diva is not created by Desperate Housewives alone. The way she treated her co-stars and acted during the performance of her role often spawned rumors of a tense set. Even though it is true that in many cases such rumors are overstated or biased, their collective form helped to build a bad reputation around her. On top of these on-set problems, Hatcher's public persona has also contributed to her reputation. Sometimes, interviews and media appearances gave the impression of aloofness or difficulty, further cementing her image as a tough nut to crack in Hollywood. Even with her professional success and acclaim, it was because of these aspects of her behavior that some have called her a difficult personality, supporting some perception that she might not be nice to interact with in real life. Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal is the kind of guy who is considered to be a real egoist and hard to get on with. The man made a beeline for the acting scene, having broken through in the 80s and 90s with his brilliant martial arts skills and action hero roles. His behavior was, though, the talking point for many people working behind the scenes with him. Much of the reputation for being difficult to work with stems from Seagal himself. Film set reports depict him having an inflated sense of his importance in the scheme of things. He is known to demand special treatment and control every aspect of his work, which includes insisting on major changes in the script and taking over as director on set, though he is not the director of these films. This has been known to piss off fellow co-stars, directors, and crew alike. Of course, one of the most notorious examples of his maladjusted behavior is his history of conflicts with directors and producers. On Under Siege 2 Dark Territory, director Geoff Murphy was said to have had a really bad relationship with Siegel because he wanted to do things his way in various aspects of the production. This kind of behavior is not altogether rare in Hollywood, but Siegel's especially demanding and uncompromising attitude set him apart. Apart from his on-set behavior, Siegel has been the subject of many allegations regarding his unprofessionalism. There have been reports of him being abrasive and confrontational to further alienate those working with him. His dealings with the media also showed in him a sense of arrogance, as he always portrayed himself as a master of the martial arts and a superior being, something that most find irreconcilable. More recently, sexual misconduct allegations have joined the other legal troubles in further maligning Siegel's reputation. All these have gone very strongly toward imprinting the image of him as a problematic figure in the entertainment circuit. Considering his egotistical behavior, on-set problems, and off-screen controversies, Steven Siegel has come to be viewed as someone negative by many people in the industry. William Shatner? William Shatner played the role of Captain James T. Kirk in Star Trek, which catapulted him into a household name. Though most people love the actor, he has built a reputation for being difficult to handle, according to actors, directors, and other personalities within the acting fraternity. Shatner is known to rub people the wrong way with his rather abrasive and aggressive attitude on set. Another area in the legend of William Shatner concerns his stormy relationships with fellow Star Trek actors. Stories of fights on set and tension have circulated for years. Leonard Nimoy, who played Mr. Spock, constantly spoke of his troubled relationship with Shatner, particularly with Shatner's huge ego and propensity to steal scenes from other actors. It is reported that his personality caused huge friction, especially about screen time and attention. Shatner's alleged on-set problems don't stop at Star Trek. He has annoying behavior that has also been denounced on other sets. There have been accounts of his having worried directors and crew members with his demanding nature and perceived lack of professionalism. He has been described as having a grandiose sense of his importance, which is occasionally translated into disrespectful behavior toward those with whom he works. Equally harming his cause has been Shatner's public persona. Frequent self-promotional activities peppered with outspoken and sometimes controversial comments have helped cement his reputation as a difficult person. For example, he has made candid, at times disparaging, remarks regarding colleagues and experiences in his autobiography and several interviews, which have not always endeared him to the public or his peers. His general reputation in Hollywood as being a difficult personality can be seen in William Shatner's on-set behavior, poor relationships with his co-stars, and a public persona that too often tends to lend credence to the rumors of him being unbending and self-focused. While he remains an admired figure in terms of his contributions to entertainment, these aspects of his career have led to a perception of him as a challenging and contentious presence within the industry. James Cameron. James Cameron has maintained his fame with his image as a director of forced and often difficult behavior, though not an actor. Best known for films such as Titanic and Avatar, Cameron is often reviled or heralded in Hollywood for his exacting standards and hard work. He has been known to push his crew and actors to the edge to see his vision come alive. The push for perfection has sometimes led to a pretty stressful work environment. For instance, what was supposed to be realistic portrayals of the historical events turned into grueling work schedules and harrowing conditions for some of the cast and crew in the filming of Titanic. Reports from the set described him as uncompromisingly insistent, allowing no room for mistakes or delays. What's more, as a person, Cameron is known to be equally demanding, as is reflected by his directorial ventures. He's one of those types who loves to get involved in every single bit and bob of filmmaking. This, in turn, makes him less tolerant of those who prefer working in a more consultative process. The insomniac workaholic, long hours and rewrites at the nth minute concerning the script or filming result in a fair amount of friction between himself and his actors or staff, who invariably fail to keep up with his vision. However, Cameron's public image is enhanced by industrial stories, including having a long list of well-publicized falling outs with actors and crew members. Although he is held in high esteem for that kind of extreme creativity and his ability to produce films that are highly successful both financially and critically in the same way, these very high demands and creativity have put him in a category with those Hollywood figures most often deemed difficult by those who have worked with them. That is often described with his films, which demand the most extraordinary commitment imaginable, and that leads to tension and even stress on the sets. Wesley Snipes. One of those actors who has built up a reputation in Hollywood for his erratic behavior is Wesley Snipes. With cases of feuding with co-stars, as well as directors on several occasions, Snipes, who had developed his credibility through intense roles in films such as Blade and White Men Can't Jump, was also a confessed problem on the set and troublemaker off the screen. One of the major reasons behind such a controversial reputation is his troublesome behavior during film shootings. Conflicts with directors have also been reported, and these were particularly about his method of acting style and his inability to work within assumptions created by a director. Such tendencies are exhibited in the matter of The Expendables 3, in which he reportedly could not see eye to eye with the director of the film, Patrick Hughes. Snipes' inability to budge regarding the insinuations of the director and his reportedly difficult attitude saw him partly responsible for the breakdown in the set atmosphere. In addition to his legal troubles, his image has also been maligned in the eyes of the public. He was found guilty of income tax evasion in 2008 and was sentenced to 3 years in prison. With this case, coupled with his loud criticism of the IRS and subsequently being sent behind bars, he was portrayed as a maverick. His prison time not only ruined his career but also added great fuel to his image of being a difficult and problem maker. Furthermore, he used to have friction in relating to other co-stars while acting in the films. For instance, during the Rising Sun movie, he had serious disagreements with the co-star Sean Connery that drained him on the set. Moreover, through other projects, his ability to work with other actors has been marked with disputes and altercations that further cemented his reputation as an intense character. Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin is an actor, producer, and comedian whose massive controversies have made him many enemies due to his hot-headed disposition and controversial public behavior that brought upon him very strict scrutiny and heavy criticism. And known for years to everyone, Baldwin's temper has regularly hit headlines because of outbursts and confrontations. One of the most striking incidents was the 2018 arrest of Baldwin over misdemeanor assault for a heated altercation in New York City due to Wart City. That indicated his explosive reaction in public once again and added to his controversial image. Moreover, Baldwin's behavior across social media and during interviews further intensified his controversial image. He has actively been involved in public feuds with several media professionals, politicians, and even fans. He could be very harsh and uncensored, using social media for the sake of blowing off steam or sharing opinions. Then again, that adds to his controversial image when one comes to think about it. For example, the way he often goes on a tirade against public figures or political views that sometimes comes across as haughty or bullying. It was not until 2021, after Baldwin got involved in the tragic shooting incident of a prop gun during the making of Rust, killing the film's cinematographer, Helena Hutchins, that his public image took a drizzle. Later declared to be an accident, it whipped up a whirlwind of publicity and condemnation against the actor himself, whom many believe shares the responsibility for what had happened and acted unprofessional. Further, the tragedy added to controversies surrounding the actor and escalated negative public perception. Though Baldwin has had some successes as an actor, most undeniable was his work on Saturday Night Live. All of it is tarnished by these incidents. His sometimes abrasive temperament, together with controversial public behavior, has forged a reputation that many have found hard to reconcile with his professional achievements. Megan Fox. Megan Fox developed a reputation as a difficult actor through a combination of outspokenness, public controversies, and rumors regarding her on-set behavior. Fox first gained national attention with her performance in Transformers in 2007. Her performance and body alone gained much media attention at the time. It was, however, her public comments about the film's director, Michael Bay, that began to define her controversial public persona. In 2009, Fox publicized her criticism of Bay's directing style and compared him to Adolf Hitler. The comparison reportedly got her dropped from the Transformers sequel, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, in 2009. Bay responded negatively to the statements, very much underlining Fox's reputation these days for being difficult to work with. Fox has been described by several of her co-stars and crew members as acting difficult and demanding on set. Reports say she could be unpredictable and highly confrontational, making an atmosphere uneasy. While filming Jennifer's Body in 2009, she was supposedly so difficult to approach that her co-stars and crew found her disagreeable, because she would often fight around her. What also fueled her reputation as such was Fox's public personality, being given to provocative and occasionally controversial statements. She was pretty upfront about her views on Hollywood and the entertainment industry in many instances, creating some kind of friction with professionals in these very industries who are now more discreet or cooperative. Jared Leto. Jared Leto is a multi-talented actor and musician who has succeeded in earning both critical acclaim and controversy. He is a method actor, notorious for his intense approach to the craft and possibly sporting some of the most unique off-screen behavior in Hollywood. This method of acting and the off-screen persona he has honed make people either love or hate him. Leto's method of acting, deeply immersing himself in the characters, has gained him both admiration and condemnation. For example, his rendition of the Joker in Suicide Squad entailed researching the character's psyche, which he took to some rather wild extremes. Specifically, Leto kept up the role of the chaotic character by sending his co-stars bizarre and unsettling gifts that were offset, such as used condoms and a dead rat. This behavior, though a means of getting himself psyched up, was perceived by some as disruptive and unsettling, creating an uncomfortable atmosphere on the set. Moreover, some off-screen antics have also helped Leto secure his controversial status. With his acknowledged eccentricity and offbeat personality, he spends much time acting like a celebrity, which may rub quite a few people the wrong way. Sometimes, an affinity for eccentric acts, like hosting elaborate parties or managing to pull off weird public stunts, may give others the impression of self-indulgence or insincerity. Leto's behavior has also been characteristic of his tendency to be outspoken and provocative, which fueled controversy even more. For example, his public statements and actions sometimes border on the eccentric, a quality that may become off-putting to someone who prefers celebrities to act more conservatively or traditionally. For some, Leto is appreciated for his commitment to his craft and his will to push the boundaries. Others, however, find that the approach is too self-serving and disruptive. Often this ostensible duality in the way Leto is viewed crystallizes around the thin line that separates artistic commitment from disruptive behavior, in effect making him one of the most controversial figures in showbiz. Charlie Sheen. With his erratic behavior and constant clashes with co-stars, Charlie Sheen is some kind of a polarizing figure in Hollywood. High-profile successes with starring roles in 2.5 Men and Platoon are balanced against a life that has been high drama, personal, and especially professional. And one of the major reasons compounding the dislike for Sheen within the industry is his highly publicized behavior during the height of his career. In 2011, Sheen's erratic behavior and fractious relationship with the producers of 2.5 Men resulted in his being fired from the show. This was followed by a spree of weird public appearances, his rants on social media and different interview platforms, with comments such as having tiger blood and Adonis DNA. It was because of such comments and erratic public appearances that he gained the controversial label. Sheen's behavior did not stop there, though. He has had problems with fellow stars in several shows or productions. There have been reports of his ill behavior on set and less than professional attitude. His stormy relationship with colleagues did not stop at 2.5 Men but continued in other projects as well. For instance, he was said to have problems with directors and co-stars while filming Platoon and Hot Shots. Besides, Sheen's much publicized battle with substance abuse has further contributed to his larger-than-life image. Public confrontations with his vice, followed by arrests in most cases, were considered the root cause of his unpredictable behavior. No matter how much he tried to get out of the problem, his actions could not help being raised as the question of unreliability and fickleness. Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer Aniston is arguably most famous for her role as Rachel Green on the legendary TV series Friends. With her super success in Hollywood, there have been rumors from some people who described her as cold and standoffish in person. Quite often, such views stand in sharp contrast to her screen image, which is usually warm, friendly, and amiable. Stories from many co-stars and other insiders in the industry have fed the perception of Aniston as aloof or detached. Indeed, several co-stars and production staff described her as keeping a professional distance on set, which sometimes translates to being unapproachable or not so friendly. For instance, it's been rumored that Aniston is very uptight about her on-set environment, from specific requirements to wanting to maintain her interaction with most people strictly professional. This kind of control can easily be misrepresented as diva-like behavior when it might just be her way of remaining focused and professional. This would also be attributed to the unremitting scrutiny and pressure that such a high-profile celebrity keeps receiving. Aniston's personal life, more so regarding her relationships and breakups, has never been out of the media radar. This could have conditioned her to adopt a more reserved and guarded demeanor as a form of protection. Words and actions are magnified into situations where normal stress responses are misconstrued as coldness when they are always under the scrutiny of the public eye. Furthermore, the invasiveness of fame, which Aniston was always fighting against about her relationships and personal decisions, may create alienation. It is quite easy to understand how a constant bombardment of the paparazzi and tabloids speculating about every bit of personal life would make anyone more guarded in their interactions with the public. Shia LaBeouf, one of the most intense method actors. He was known for his erratic behavior, and all this seemed to have whisked his life into a tizzy. His career has been marked by several public incidents and clashes with co-stars, which have earned him a reputation for being hard to work with, a controversial figure in Hollywood. The trouble began for LaBeouf in the early 2010s after a spate of highly publicized incidents. In 2014, he was taken into police custody for causing a ruckus at a Broadway showing of Cabaret. He had acted erratically, smoking in the auditorium and yelling obscenities. Just one of many incidents that has brought his problem with alcohol and the law to the forefront is this. His on-set behavior has also become an issue. For instance, while working on the movie Lawless, LaBeouf is claimed to have had physical fights with the co-star of the movie, Tom Hardy. Although Hardy would try to downplay the severity of the fight later on, the incident furthered LaBeouf's growing reputation for volatility. Further, during the filming of Fury, co-star Brad Pitt and director David Ayer were both said to be tugging on the reins of LaBeouf's extreme method acting, which included not showering for weeks to get inside his character's head. This kind of behavior has tended to alienate others and disrupt the filming process, very off-putting, although it does show his passion for acting. But LaBeouf's personal life, too, has been no less tumultuous. He has faced counts of abusive behavior many times from his ex-girlfriends, most notably singer Fka Twigs, who filed a suit against him in 2020 for sexual battery, assault, and infliction of emotional distress. This caused damage to his reputation and brought immense public and industry backlash. Able-bodied and critically acclaimed by performance, Shia LaBeouf's erratic behavior and string of scandals polarize opinions. His actions destroyed not only professional relationships but also any semblance of public perception of ever being a nice guy, and have instead replaced it with a reputation for being difficult and troubled. Although he did seek treatment and showed a positive willingness to change, the shades of what he did will be very hard to shrug off in his career. To conclude, the world of Hollywood is as varied in its personalities as it is in talents. While some actors have reached the lofty heights of fan adoration through their innate talent and charisma alone, others have climbed by gaining reputations for being plain downright difficult, or a problem to work with. The list of 15 actors you'll truly despise if you meet Tim in real life has singled out actors who, for one reason or another, have projected some bad impression either on set, in their personal life, or through their public persona.